My name is Rishad Tobaccowala. I am the Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer, a company called VivaKi, which is an umbrella company that enables several digital communication brands, including MediaVest, Starcom, and Optimedia, Digitas, and Razorfish, among others. I joined the agency business almost 30 years ago after graduating from business school at the University of Chicago. And I joined the Leo Burnett advertising agency, and we are actually still in the Leo Burnett building 30 years later. We actually moved into this building about 25 years ago. I was particularly interested in two things. I was interested in strategy, and I was interested in marketing communications. And in those days, Leo Burnett was the ideal place to combine those. There are three keys to being an innovative leader, if I am that. One is to understand what innovation is, and innovation, in my definition, is fresh, insightful connections. Therefore, in order to be innovative, you need to have fresh, insightful connections. The second thing, in order to do that, is you have to question yourself, you have to take another perspective, and you have to do new things and look at new things all year long, all day long, all month long. Because if you are not seeing different connections or different data points, you won't be able to connect them. The last, which is the most important, which is insightful, is you need to basically not just look at the data to reveal things that data reveals, but also to understand human beings, because insights really come from a combination of people and looking at data. Launching a new product. There are 4 or 5 things I would keep in mind. The first is that you are working in silicon, but you are selling to carbon-based human beings. And the future is less digital, it's more digital and analog together. The third is, most digital entrepreneurs understand this. Doing is far more important than thinking. Iterating quickly is far more interesting than thinking of big plans that never come to fruition. Fourth is, it's going to be very important in networked world to be collaborative. In order to be collaborative, people have to A, trust you, and B, they've got to understand that working with you should be fun and also C, profitable. Often, if you only think of yourself and only your profits, and therefore are not trustworthy, it's very difficult to be an entrepreneur. I believe that the most challenging thing in the field, which continues currently, is the speed of change, which means you are never really completely comfortable. And it's very hard to be an expert, because whatever you are an expert at either has changed or it has become obsolete. And therefore, one of the most important challenges, which I've managed to overcome, is you have to continuously reinvent yourself, and you have to continuously learn. I think the common mistakes that digital firms tend to make, historically in the past, it was a belief that digital was more important than analog, and that they were the saviors of the world. And they were not the saviors of the world, they were very important things. Later on, I think the problem is that this is about digital when it's actually about what we call paid, owned, earned media versus analog or digital or above the line or below the line. And the third mistake is sometimes forgetting that there are lots of other ideas besides your own, and sometimes those ideas are better. The reason why I look at global more than I look necessarily at local is because two things are happening. One is digitization, and when you think about things like Facebook or Google, they're global companies, or Apple, they're global companies. The other is because of marketplaces, the world is becoming far together, and therefore you have to have a broad perspective. But when you have a broad perspective, you can get overwhelmed because you can put on the television or get online, and it looks like everything is happening all the time simultaneously. Therefore, there are a couple of things that I suggest to people. The first is you need to know where you are and who you are. Because if you want to change the world, you need to have a place to stand. So you need to define yourself extremely well, and what I ask people is, what is your niche, what is your voice, and what is your story, which I think is important. The second is you've got to understand what you are trying to achieve, which is if you're going to move the lever and move the world, where exactly are you trying to take it? If you know who you are and where you are trying to go, that's a great way of filtering the world, and also sometimes adapting who you are and where you want to go. I believe that what will tend to happen is media entities of all sorts will basically understand that being online means not just being on the computer, but being on tablets, being on the television, being on the phone. Mm-hmm. That will be the first thing that will happen. Second is there will become this seamless difference between what is online and offline. So I've predicted for a long time, which is for the last 6 months to a year, that Amazon will actually start stores, physical stores. Similarly, just as you've seen Walmart doing a lot in Walmart.com. Mm-hmm. And people will basically sometimes go to a store, go online, order stuff from mobile, and people just would want to interact with the brand or want to transact. So things like e-commerce and m-commerce and regular commerce will all merge into one. So the prediction really is there's a lot of what I call digital leakage, which is industries and things that used to be separate are going to come together. And as a result, media companies have to recognize that they're not television companies or print companies or radio companies. They happen to be in the business of delivering appropriate content at the right time to the right person. And that's going to be done across a spectrum of media, from online to offline, from audio to video. And who knows, in the future, there may even be smell around.